Back to the Spotlight Games podcast. Today, we're going to be making our own open world video game. And joining me, as always, my sweet dumpster boy, Cayman Darty. Cayman, how you doing?
Patrick, let me tell you something. Patrick, I'm going to ask you a question, actually.
Yeah, can we start with a question?
Have you ever been needled before?
Like acupunctured? Like,
yeah.
I don't think I ever have.
Interesting. I got needled in my ass earlier this week.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. So I'm in physical therapy, and part of my physical therapy, they were like, "Hey, we do dry needling."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Cool." I was like, "I don't know what that means exactly." Like, we'll put needles in you. Like, dope.
And you're like, "You got any of that wet needling?"
Yeah. Lube me up, baby. And I'm like, "All right, cool. Yeah, like fuck. If you think it'll help," they're like, "Yeah, it'll help with pain. It like works wonders with pain." Like, well, my leg hurts like fuck.
Gimme.
Needle me up. It's like roll me over. Start sticking needles in my ass.
Yeah, they did.
And before they get started, Patrick, I had to ask me a series of questions. Okay. You can probably imagine what some of these questions are.
Sure.
Like, hey, do you have a sexually transmitted disease? Like,
ooh.
Thankfully, I can say no to that.
Yep.
Okay. Then it gets weirder and funnier to me for some reason. They're like, okay, like, have you, they asked me if I had some weird disorder.
Okay.
And I was like, don't know what that is. Some phobia. I was like, don't know what that is. Like, oh, it's a needle phobia. I was like, I think if I had a needle phobia, I would have said no to this. right off the bat, right? And so they're like, okay, so they go to that, and then they're like, all right, do you have do your wounds heal slowly? What type of question is that?
Well,
I don't think so. So I'm like, I don't think so. She's like, oh, well, if they don't, you know. I'm like, how often do you get a wound that you can tell that, like, I'm not, my wounds aren't healing as fast, right?
Yeah.
There's probably someone out there who's like, anemic is like, you'll know. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't have that. Then the last question, are you pregnant?
That was a clear yes.
So I would like to announce today, guys.
Yeah.
Live on air. The dumpster boy's having a dumpster baby.
Let's go.
Right here.
What an announcement. Yeah, I do love when the questions start getting just crazy with doctors. There have been times where I've been into doctor's office and I'm like, wasn't expecting that question today. But here we are.
Expecting it.
We're gonna have a lot of questions today, Cayman. We're gonna answer a lot of them because today, like I said, we're gonna be creating our very own open world game. There are going to be some rules. We're going to discuss them here in a minute. But first, Cayman, how about a little housekeeping? We got a lot of video game stuff to talk about because this is the Spotlight Games podcast where each week we spotlight the latest and the greatest in the world of video games. You can get it by subscribing to our YouTube channel at Spotlight Games Pod or by searching for Spotlight Games in your favorite podcast app. And hey, you can be on the show by tuning in as we record live Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern time right here on twitch.tv/Spotlight Games Pod, just like Rabbit128 is. Oh, hi, John. Cognitive Clips is. Oh, hey, Jordan. Thanks for being here. Just like them, if you follow us on Twitch, you're going to be notified when we go live, so you can click in and be part of the conversation. Also, if you're here live tomorrow night, we do continue yet again our playthrough of The Last of Us Part 2 with Rose right here on twitch.tv/Spotlight Games Pod. And finally, join the Discord. We got a fun little Discord where we goof off together about video games. So if that sounds like something you'd like, click the link in the bio of our socials. Click the link in the description of this very podcast to join the Discord. John has questions.
John has brother.
He says he has questions, but he only asks one. And I don't even think. Oh, it is. Okay, he corrected himself. Is Cayman holding an e-cigarette? He asks.
Oh, sorry. This is a pin.
That's a pin.
It's a pin. That thing where you need something in your hands.
You're a fiddler. And I don't see a roof in sight, Cayman.
Some say I was a rich man.
Cayman.
Yes.
Cayman. We always start our episodes with what we've been playing, and we are going to do that as we often do. I say always, but there have been a few times that we've not done it. a few.
It's just like special occasions.
Special occasion, which I would like to think that today is a special occasion because we get to chat.
Sure.
But we are going to talk about what we've been playing. Cayman, I'm going to start us off with a quick a quick final little zhuzh on Dungeons of Hinterberg.
Hit me.
Hit credits, finish the game, nearly 100% of the game. But then I remembered I'm on an Xbox. They don't have Platinum Trophy. What's the point?
What's the point?
What's the point? But I think I had got like all but 3 achievements, maybe. What a lovely game. I am shocked, Cayman, to say, and I think you might be shocked too, to hear. And who knows how many people in the audience are going to be shocked when they hear that as of right now, July 30th, 2024 at 8:06 p.m., Dungeons of Hinterberg, my game of the year.
Wow.
I had such a lovely time with this video game. I think it's a clear 5 out of 5 for me. But the funny thing is, and I think the reason that I'm shocked about this is that even though I firmly believe right now it is my game of the year, I could totally see someone thinking this is like a 6 out of 10. Like it's the kind of thing where like I could see why someone wouldn't think it's special. I could see why someone wouldn't think the dungeons are fun. I could see why someone wouldn't be interested in the story, the art style, etc., the gameplay loop. But it just clicked for me on such a deep level that I just wanted to go back. I whipped out the Steam Deck, started playing xCloud on it. Like I just wanted to be playing Dungeons of Hinterberg. I was sad for it to go. It does seem like there could be sequel potential here. There's times not to like spoil things. But there's sometimes where maybe they might mention there's some other parts of the world. So I'm wondering if we get like a Dungeons of X after Hinterberg. We'll see. We'll see how well this game does. But I had such a lovely time with this game, and I think I think people should play it. We have a couple questions from the audience. John, again, number 2, does Bulletstorm need a sequel?
You know what gets set up for a sequel? Bulletstorm. To have a Bulletstorm 2. I'm just saying, does it need a sequel? Maybe we'll talk about that a little later today. And his number 3 question, should TLU get a prequel game? They kind of already did, in a way. The first Last of Us getting that prequel DLC. The Left Behind.
Left Behind DLC, kind of prequel-y. But I mean, I'm not going to say no to more Last of Us. However, I feel like the show did a good job of like, it was only part of one episode, but like that, like pandemic, pre-epidemic situation.
Okay, hold on. I have questions about this particular question.
Yeah.
I need answers, Patrick.
Yeah.
When we're talking prequel, are we talking like are we talking like we're going to go before the outbreak? And is it going to be like Marky Mark trying to stop 9/11?
I mean, that it could fit.
I mean, is that the prequel we're going for? Or are we talking like, because Left Behind is kind of the prequel, right?
Right.
So I guess, talking like we want to see Tommy and Joel. Is that the prequel that we want, John?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, that some clarity on should we get a prequel to the story of The Last of Us Part 1, or should we get a prequel to the first game in any capacity? Because I mean, fucking Octodad could be a prequel to The Last of Us for all we know.
You know what? I don't think it could be. I think the technology is too advanced to Octodad.
Okay. I'm just saying. It
had to have taken place after, because Last of Us starts in 2003? Feels right.
That does feel right. I'm trying to, because the show and the game are different, and I get confused now in my old age of which one's which. But I see where he's going now. He follows up and says, imagine they announce these games and for 5 years they drag these out, teasing, showing trailers, and it never comes out. Poor sweet guy, poor sweet man is talking about Hollow Knight Silk Song. Still nothing.
He wasn't even talking about The Last of Us the whole time.
Yeah.
He's just talking about Hollow Knight Silk Song.
I don't think I knew. I think this is news to me that Hollow Knight Silk Song is supposed to be a prequel to Hollow Knight.
Is it?
I mean, that's what I gather. Well, not necessarily. He says prequel or sequel. Never mind. No. I'm reading too into this. It's just another game in the franchise. That's what he meant.
Question, Patrick, I have is Hollow Knight, is it open world?
guess we'll find out. No, I don't think it is. Cayman, what have you been playing?
All right, I want to do just a quick update on Submerged Hidden Depths, the game that sounds like a horror game, but is not actually a horror game. I platinumed it. It was pretty good. I think some of the novelty started to wear off, probably more so after I beat the game and started working on the platinum. Just not that it was hard. It wasn't hard at all. It was just like you could kind of see, you started to feel more of the rough edges of the simplicity of the game itself when you're having to do like extra things that aren't necessary.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I think that there's some things that they like, if they were to make a sequel to this game, which I kind of hope the studio does something more like this because it was really cool. I think if they would have introduced mechanics where it was like Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, where you got to play as both characters, or even just like having them work together, because the way the game works is if you drop off on an area that you need to do something, whether it's get a diary or get the seed, whatnot, that you need to do, you get off your boat and only one character gets off the boat to complete a series of puzzles. I think it would have been more interesting if they somehow utilized the second character within puzzles and exploration, whether it's just someone like one of them grabbing a hold of something to hold it down so the other can walk above. Even something as simple as that, I think would elevate the gameplay. Ultimately, I think a solid 3 out of 5. I think it's a cool little hidden indie gem. Really been enjoying doing the Dumpster Boys dumpster dives.
Hell yeah.
Lately. I picked the game up for I think $2.99.
Nice.
I want to say it's still on sale right now. So if you got PlayStation, jump in and grab it. I think it's really cool. Yeah. 3 out of 5.
That's awesome. Hell yeah.
5 to 6 hours to platinum. So, you know.
I mean, it's funny. The other day I was scrolling through, I was trying to compile a list for myself of like my backlog and using it as a way to be like, you know what? I'm never going to touch that game. I'm just going to forget it even exists. And I was going through and I was just scrolling through like every game that I have on PlayStation. Turns out at some point I downloaded Submerged.
Really?
So it's right there waiting for me.
Beautiful.
I don't know if at one point it was like free on PS Plus. I don't know if I just got it for like $3 at a different sale years ago.
Right.
But so I have no excuses.
Yeah, look, I think if it's in your backlog, or if you just want a small weekend game that you can beat in a Sunday.
Yeah.
He's a perfect game for that.
Hell yeah. Damon, before we move on to another game I've been playing or you've been playing, it seems I missed a joke in the chat and I need to address it. When John was asking us about a prequel of us, one Cognitive Clips first time chatter said, call it the second to Last of Us, which can I just say, good joke. My apologies for missing it. Turns out I can't read. Cayman, I have a new game that I've been playing. Would you like to talk about it, or would you like to go with another game you've been playing?
Let me go with the game I've been playing with yours. Yeah, because I got a third one I want to talk about too. So, okay, well, this might be a little bit longer. A game called Pumpkin Jack.
Great.
Have you heard of this game, Pumpkin Jack? It is feels very much like a what is the fucking thing I'm thinking about? Like mascot platformer, but not really like remember when we had mascot games that were like more so like platforming, but also beat 'em ups?
Oh yeah.
So it wasn't as much like Crash Bandicoot platform or like Mario platform, but like we're talking just like probably like Gex.
Okay.
Gex.
Yeah.
Gex or even Sly Cooper to a degree. There's no stealth in this game, but Pumpkin Jack feels like a game that could have come from the PlayStation 2. It feels exactly of that era. And obviously, as you can probably gather from the name, it is a Halloween type game. Did I play it too early in the season? Yes. Does it matter?
I don't know. Ask my wife, it's Halloween 24/7.
So yeah, I'm
365.
Fine. Right. I'm fine. So basically the premise of the game is you play as Pumpkin Jack, who's set on a quest from Satan to stop a wizard. The wizard is going to try to make the world a better place. You have to stop the wizard. It's
Love that.
Quite funny. Each level is like a different setting of like Halloween spookiness. There's like a snow level with like deformed demonic looking snowmen. There's like a Sleepy Hollow level set in like the swamps. So like each level is different. There's only 6 worlds that you're going to visit, and they're not open worlds, very linear. The only thing you're really doing off the beaten path is picking up collectibles. So it's a lot of collectible hunting, stuff like that in levels, a lot of platforming. And then at the end of each level, you get a boss fight. At the end of the boss fight, you get a new weapon. If you start collecting the collectibles in the game, you can turn those in to get skins so that Jack can wear different costumes.
Ooh, okay.
And then you get different weapons. So, and you can swap between the weapons. So it's not like you're locked out and have to play each level differently. But the main mechanic is you're going to platform for a lot of it, beat up enemies, but you're also going to do an on-rail section that is hit or miss.
Okay.
And then mini games, which are also a bit hit or miss. The game's short. Like I said, 6 levels. Each level takes less than an hour to beat.
Okay.
I platinumed it in one straight shot.
Let's go.
I didn't even need a guide. I straight up just platinumed the game when I rolled credits.
I'm curious. When you decided to play this game, did you check in at all with our personal friend ACM Boys on Google?
Yeah, I didn't.
You didn't? Well, let me pull in ACM Boys. It's BOIS on Google real fast for a little Google review. He says, so yeah, this game is really cool and all, but I think for the minecart rides, they need to be nerfed because they're just so difficult. And it takes me like 20 tries to flipping beat them.
Yes.
Do you agree with that? Do you agree with ACM Boys?
I died roughly 31 times.
Okay.
Which for a platformer,
1 out of 5 stars, they said.
Platformer is okay. So the platforming is a bit floaty, and so sometimes you don't necessarily land where you think you're going to land.
Okay.
That's like my biggest complaint. The minecart section, out of my 30 times, 29 of them. 29 of them was that fucking it was hilariously bad.
Would you call that a helpful or an unhelpful review?
I think that's actually pretty accurate because you have to clear it if you want to beat the game. I think that's good. I think that I made 1 out of 5 stars. That was his score, though.
A little harsh, it seems.
That's harsh. That's harsh. I would say this is a solid 3 out of 5. Probably hold off until spooky season.
Okay.
Platinum's fine. Like I said, I literally rolled credits with the plat.
Was this? You might have said at the beginning, but I was distracted trying to find a funny Google review. PlayStation Plus?
No, actually, I picked it up doing my dumpster dives during the summer sale and got it for $4.99.
Love that.
Yeah, I've been trying to do. We talked about this, I think, last week.
Yeah,
where I've been trying to play games that are like super dirt cheap because I'm poor.
Sure.
Also, I want to see if there's hidden gems out there that we don't know of.
Love it. I think it's a great idea.
Guess what, buddy? I got one, but I want to hear what your game.
Okay, great. Also, I think we should consider making this its own segment, the dumpster dive segment.
Oh, okay.
As an addendum to what we're playing. Well, let's consider it because I think that's fun. So I've been playing a game, came out earlier this year. It is on the PC and the Switch. So these are the audiences I'm speaking directly to, Cayman.
Okay.
Called 1000X Resist. Have you heard about this game?
What the?
Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
Nope. Do you have B-roll?
I can pull up some B-roll. So 1000X Resist is described as a thrilling sci-fi adventure.
Okay.
And it's kind of hard to describe. So I do think some B-roll will be good here. But you play as this, like, I'm about an hour in, so I'm not 100% sure of the like the longevity of it. I think Google says it's about like 10 to 12 hours long, but it seems to be kind of, I don't want to say low budget, but like the graphics don't blow me away. I'm pulling up. There aren't as many YouTube videos of the gameplays I would have expected. This is a review from Bite Sized, so I'm referring to Jessica Hoops's B-roll here. But you play as this character, and there seems to be, it's set in like a future something, and it seems to be that like humanity has all died from some like virus, perhaps. There's like aliens involved, but there's this cool. So it seems like you're unpacking a mystery. You're trying to kind of figure out what happened, perhaps. Like since I'm so early, I'm a little unclear on like what my overall main goal is still, but it has a mechanic that I'm really enjoying so far, where you go into these like settings, essentially these areas, and you can jump back and forth in time. Like you can jump from like a time where everything is like dead and decrepit and there's like no humans anymore, or you can jump back to like when there were humans. So like in the first example, you're in like a school, and maybe a door to the gymnasium is like blocked by a bunch of rubble, but I jump back in the past, that door is open. I can go in, then I switch back to the future and I can explore the gym in its like future decrepit state now that I'm inside. So like in the B-roll, when it's like a red screen, that's like future. When it's like a bluer screen, that's like kind of quote unquote present day ish. But it seems to be very like narrative forward, even though like I was kind of saying, like I'm a little unclear on what some of the things are. I think it's just the way that the narrative is presenting itself. Like I still have questions. But like it is very much like you were playing this game for its story, it seems.
Patrick, question.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to back up a second to that gameplay style. Did you ever play the game Singularity?
I never played Singularity. I always wanted to.
Okay, it was the first game Ravensoft made. For those who don't know, Ravensoft is now one of the Call of Duty devs. This is the first game they ever made, but they had a mechanic in it where to solve puzzles throughout the world, it's a first-person shooter, but to solve puzzles throughout the world as you were doing things, you would have to go like to the future, to the past, and like bounce between to do shit. That is one of the most low-key, amazing gameplay mechanics. No one ever does it, and I don't know why, because it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, like I started playing this game over the weekend because I finished Dungeons of Hinterberg, and I had heard it's kind of some buzz about this. Like it got a 9 from IGN a few months back, but I think because it's only on PC and Switch, I think it kind of went under the radar. And it seems to be like very indie. So like that also could be part of it. It just didn't get caught in the conversation. It doesn't seem. But I was about 45 minutes in and I'm like, this, like, it's kind of cool, but it just isn't grabbing me yet. And then the time mechanic showed up and I was like, now this is interesting. I really like this kind of investigation style of like the first time you get it, you're tasked with like finding a character in like various parts around the school. And like, I don't really know how to get there because it's blocked. And then I'm like, oh, right, I can fucking flip time. And then I went in and I talked to her. She called herself, her name is Zhao. She called herself Dumpster Zhao. Took some screenshots.
No fucking way.
Yes, fucking way. So this might be a game that came, we'll wait and see. But it's a budget title, $19.99, full price. So I will report back. But so far, feeling good about it. I'm excited to see kind of where this takes me as a quick little interjection before the next kind of bigger game that I jump into, which will probably be Star Wars Outlaws at the end of August. But yeah, so Jordan jumps in the chat. I'll tell you why. I'm assuming about the time jumpiness, because Titanfall 2 did it best and no one dared try. He says, I never played.
I forgot that Titanfall 2 did it, but that's probably not accurate, Jordan.
Ooh,
just saying.
Ooh,
just saying.
Ooh, just saying.
I'm just saying, if Bulletstorm 2 did it, it would have done better.
You're true. You're true. You are true, Cayman. But yeah, I will report back because like I said, I'm very interested to see where this takes me. And yeah, so that's what I've been playing. Cayman, bring us home, and then let's get into the topic.
I'm gonna bring it home with a hidden gem for Dumpster Boys Dumpster Diving, and let me tell you, this game's called A Castle Full of Cats.
Ooh, meow.
A Castle Full of Cats. It is a hidden pictures game where you have to find cats in hidden pictures in a castle. Here's the thing, which is the wildest part of this game. Because, like, we won't be like, hey, man, that's fucking just Where's Waldo? That's a fucking highlights book. Sure, you're not wrong. To some degree, you're right. However, there's certain secrets in the game. And you can pick things up like keys and items that you have to specifically place in other areas to unlock more of the map, Metroidvania style.
Whoa.
Okay.
Jordan's ears just perked up.
Here's the other thing, too. There's a Cthulhu in this game. It's like cosmic horror at a certain point. It is the most...
Is it Cthulhu?
It is Cthulhu.
Let's go.
It is a very weird, interesting game. It's $1.50. The main mechanic is just finding images, and then eventually you'll like get us like a key and be like, or you'll find something in an area and be like, whoa, that needs keys. What the hell? So then you go start scouring the map, looking for keys, looking for items that unlock chests and things that do certain things. It's a very interesting mechanic. And then the other thing too is that the developers behind the game are their whole thing is like a portion of the money they made was being donated to shelters.
Cool.
So like there's also like an added line, and you know a lot of the game is about like adopt, don't shop.
And what's this game called again?
A Castle Full of Cats.
Castle Full of Cats.
I played it in
great art style.
I played it entirely on the Portal with like a fucking movie in the background, and you can probably imagine what else was happening in my brain at that point in time.
Yep.
And this was the perfect game for that. I could find the only thing I could say is I wish that there was 100 more levels.
$3.99.
So there wasn't, but this goes back to the thesis of the Dumpster Boys Dumpster Dives is to find games like this.
Hell
and
yeah.
I fucking found a banger, a gem of a game.
Let's go. And
I think everyone should go play it. I want to say it's literally on everything, probably even your phone.
It very well could be. Let's see. PS5, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, Microsoft Windows, Linux, Xbox One, X, and S. So actually no phone, according to the little blurb on Google. No reviews yet came in. You could be the first. You could be the first. You should be. What a joyous little report this week, I would say. But Cayman, we have a little fun discussion on the way. You and I were chatting, we were texting, and we were talking about the show. And I was like, you know what? Not very much interesting news.
Right.
Maybe it's been a while, Cayman, I think you'd agree, since we've had a fun topic. A little, I'm thinking top 100 games of all time. I'm thinking best games of our childhood. I'm thinking best games of the GameCube. Usually best kinds of things. But we're flipping that a little bit. With an idea that we are going to build our own open world game, and there are rules to do so. We have broken out several topics, several categories rather, that kind of create a video game, which I'll go through, but as an example right now, like a story, a combat system, side quests, aesthetic, or visuals, that kind of thing. There's 10 of them or 11, maybe. I forget what I counted. But we're going to go through and we're going to pick a game to represent our game that we are creating. So as an example, I might choose the combat system of Fallout 3 if I'm a psychopath. I might choose the aesthetics, the visual style of The Witcher 3. So on and so forth. We're going to go back and forth. We're each going to create our game. The twist here, Cayman, is that each game can only be used once. So if I choose Fallout 3 as my combat system, I can't use Fallout 3 again, and neither can you. Something that I'm interested in your feedback on that we didn't discuss.
Yes.
Should we keep it to singular games or franchises? I'm thinking singular games because we might run out of games if we do franchises. But what do you think?
So I was doing singular games when I built my list.
Okay.
So I feel like
leaving it to that because let's say I've used Fallout multiple times. Like if I use the Fallout 3 combat system, you could use New Vegas or 4 or 1 or 2 per se, or and so on and so forth. So okay, cool. Yeah, let's do that. And then one other twist, just for a little spice, just for a little fun. At any point in any of these categories, which I will go over here in just a second, we can bring in one non-open world video game. So maybe you want to bring in like the combat system of a fighting game. Like maybe you want your open world to anytime you're in combat, it turns into a fighting game. Or it can be split like, and it'd be a specific one. Like I want Street Fighter 2's combat system.
Right.
Or I might want the narrative of a game like Tetris, which has a very clear narrative. So that's the idea there, is that if you want to bring in one game that is not in the genre of open world games, at any point, you can bring in your wild card.
Okay, question.
Yes.
if I were to do a wild card, let's say hypothetically, my story actually is the story of Tetris.
Yeah.
Would I do the Joel Edgerton one?
Ooh, oh yeah.
Is that a thing?
I think so. I think let's have some fun with it. You know, I don't want to box us in too much. If you want the story to be the Apple TV adaptation of Tetris, then I can allow it.
It's not Joel, it's a Terran.
It's Terran. You're right. Yep, you're right. It's Terran. Are they related?
One's very British. Is the other one British?
You know, I don't know.
God. He might be.
He might be. I don't know. I'm sure one of them will write in.
Do you remember that TV show Spartacus on Showtime, or maybe Stars?
Spartacus. It was Stars. It was Stars.
You know what like blew my mind? The original Spartacus died of cancer.
He did, yeah.
At like the end of the first season, I believe, first or second season.
Sometime before the series.
They brought in a replacement who is a famous actor.
Oh,
looks identical to him.
Whoa, how about that?
Just saying.
Makes you think. Just saying. Before we jump into it, Cayman, I do want to give credit where it's due. This is a variation of a topic that I heard on a Kind of Funny show that they stole from IGN UK. So I don't feel as bad because they stole it too.
Right.
We're all thieves.
Right.
When it
technically, we're giving back to the poor, I think.
Exactly. No, for sure. We are Robin Hood in this situation. Right. So Cayman, what do you think? Any questions?
I have no questions.
Let's fucking go. So the topics, or I keep saying topics, the categories that we will be going through are as follows: story, and that doesn't have to be like the beat for beat story of a game, but and you can kind of address that when we get to it. It could be a story in the style of, it could be a story at the level of, like a critically acclaimed story. It might be, or the beat for beat story of certain games. So that's a little nebulous. We can kind of decide.
I'm going riding on vibes.
Yeah, we're going, and it can just be vibes. Like I just want the story to resemble this video game. Combat system, world/map/location, like whatever that space that the game is in. Characters and NPCs, side quests, collectibles, mini games, music, traversal, aesthetic/graphics. And then finally an it factor. And what I mean by an it factor, like those games that have like a standout feature. It might be Shadow of Mordor's nemesis system. It might be like in the Far Cry games, those like bases that you kind of go and take down and overcome. It might be a reputation system from Assassin's Creed. Like these are some examples of what like the it factor of the game is, something that kind of sets the game apart from other games in its genre. That's also going to be one that's, a bit kind of vibes. We'll kind of go with as we get there. And then the way this is going to work is, let's start with story because it's at the top of my list. And then Cayman will get to pick which one we go to next. And then once we go through that one, both of us, I'll pick the next category and we'll just kind of work our way down the list. So let's start with story. Cayman, would you like to go first or would you like me to go first?
Patrick, I'm going to go first.
Great.
I'm going to set the stage.
Please do.
And then I'm going to go ahead and just say it out right now. I'm going to burn my wild card.
Oh, let's go. Using wild card out the gate.
I'm burning my wild card here. I feel like I had a vision that I literally could not figure out a single open world game that would even come close to my vision for this.
Okay.
Everything else fell into place. And that is, I'm going to go with Life is Strange to start off.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you why. So I'm going to go with the vibes here. The vibe of my open world game that I am building and creating, right, is one where your main protagonist is just a normal fucking person.
Okay.
I wanted to be a normal, like you just got normal people in a normal town and there's some catastrophe that's going to take place. But honestly, the truth is on a grand scale, it's low stakes. Okay. We're not killing God at the end of the game. This ain't no JRPG. We're just trying to save the town. Like, that's it, man. I just want a game where I'm like in a little town and my group here is just normal people that are just trying to save their town. I think I'm onto something, Patrick. But I am. To that point, I'm burning the wild card. I don't think I need it.
I love that. Just right out the gate, we're just picking a fucking...
I feel like we're going to have two very different games at the end of this.
I love that. Oh, I think so too. For my story,
Mhm.
Cayman, I want to go with a little game called Outer Wilds.
Oh, you are stretching it, baby.
And so here's my thing. So when we think about an open world game, I think part of it, and at any point, if you're like, fuck you, that's not an open world game, I will take it. The reason I'm choosing the Outer Wilds is because when I Googled top open world games, like 3 different publications lists had this game on there. So like, if they say it's an open world game, I'll say it's an open world game.
If you were to say Outer Worlds, I'd be like, yeah.
Sure. So Outer Wilds,
it's technically, I think you're right though.
But and so I think the more I thought about it, because at first I was like, huh, is this an open world game? But the galaxy that this game takes place in, once you get in your ship, like you can go anywhere at any point in the galaxy, and like you exit orbit and you enter orbit in another planet, and like you can fast travel and things like that. But it is very much like the entire world is completely open for you to traverse and go through. But what I mean when I say the story of this game, because the story is, I think, what a lot of people like about this game. And for those of you that don't know the Outer Wilds, the premise is you are this character. You wake up one day, you have this ship, and every 22 minutes, the sun explodes. And you have 22 minutes to figure out why it's exploding and stop it. But the catch is, when the sun explodes, time goes back 22 minutes and you wake up again. So it's not necessarily like a roguelike, but it has that kind of element of like you kind of continuously restart throughout the game. And so the whole thing is like you're trying to solve this mystery of the universe. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I want the story of this open world game to be, you are solving a mystery of why the universe is ending. And so like we'll kind of decide what the setting itself is, but just the story itself is, you have, similar to not an open world game, Majora's Mask, mm-hmm. you have a time limit to finish the game, and there might be a thing that like loops you back. Actually, I'm going to say like Outer Worlds or Outer Wilds, there is the loop structure of the story, and so you're trying to solve this universal mystery. How's that sound?
I love that we are on 2 very distinct ends of the spectrum. You're going at the highest of stakes. I am going at, like, one might say, the lowest of stakes.
Cayman, I chose that we start at story. It is now your turn to choose the next category that we pull from.
Yeah, I'm going to go with world map location.
Okay.
All right. Here's the thing. I think I want to set it in, like, Oregon.
Okay.
Yeah. And
are we talking?
You're gonna say, Cayman, what fucking game is set in Oregon that's open world? Days Gone.
Let's go.
Days Gone. I'm gonna set it not in the, like, obviously we know the story. The location is Oregon.
Yeah.
It's not during a zombie apocalypse. It's just the location is Oregon. I'm thinking a small town in Oregon, hanging out in the village, like just a town in Oregon. I'm thinking Sleepy Town, almost Twin Peaks.
Ooh.
I think that's actually Washington.
True.
But we're taking place in Oregon. So
with this location map setting, is this setting like post-apocalyptic as well, or just physical location of
Oregon? Physical location Oregon. I also like the idea of Oregon because you can do, seasonal changes if you'd like.
Yeah.
And mess around with that. I think it's also boring.
Sure.
Being set in fucking Manhattan.
Sure.
Or like you're in New York or you're in LA, right? Like we're always in New York, we're always in LA.
Sure. I don't disagree.
So I like the idea of doing this, and I think it melds well with the story I've got kind of going on of like, just a town. It's just a town.
Sure.
Normal people in a normal town in Oregon.
Yeah, I love that. Let me ask you a question for my pick. This one might be, I will fully accept if you say, fuck you, that's not an open world game. Mm-hmm. Because at first I didn't think it was an open world game, and I did the thing where I search it and I pull up its Wikipedia, and in the description of the Wikipedia, they called it open world. I was like, I don't know. I think this is stretching things. 2017's Prey. That's not an open world game, is it? Like you're on that space station. Like there's it's a big space station.
Would you consider BioShock an open world?
I don't think I would.
Then I would probably lean into, if we don't think BioShock is an open world.
Great.
I don't know if I would say Prey is.
Great.
I honestly thought you were going to say like Jedi Survivor.
Sure.
Which I would consider that an open world.
Yeah. There's this like, when looking up open world games, there's this kind of divide that a lot of people have between open world and open zone, where like I think a lot of people would consider the Mass Effect games to be open zone, where like each of their worlds feel like an open world, but the game itself perhaps isn't. But I for this, we're having fun. We're having a conversation.
Honestly, I think Mass Effect I would consider Mass Effect to be an open world.
Yeah. But that's kind of my thing, is like, I feel like even if it's adjacent, I'm willing to allow it. However, I won't allow Prey, because I do think that's a great point. If BioShock is not open world, Prey is also not open world. So in that case, I was considering, Jordan brings up a good point. Survivor and Prey are both like pseudo open with Metroidvania or maybe even Resident Evil style blocked off areas. It's a good point. Like pseudo, they're kind of pseudo. I like that. But to get back on track for me, I was considering like a Witcher 3 perhaps, because like the world is just so like kind of cool and big. But then when I think about the story, I'm having to solve an issue of the universe.
Right.
I don't know that a map that big like The Witcher 3 makes sense. Because I don't necessarily think it has to be in space either for me to solve the universe's problem.
Sure.
So with that in mind, instead of I considered using a wildcard pick here as well, but I think instead of using a wildcard pick for world/map/location, I'm gonna say Ghost of Tsushima.
Feudal Japan saving the universe in feudal Japan.
Correct. We're in the hills of Tsushima. We're surrounded by nature. It's beautiful, Cayman. It's so beautiful, but it's not the aesthetic and the graphics of Ghost of Tsushima, which maybe I should have saved Ghost of Tsushima for that, but I'm doing it here. So yeah, I don't know exactly how, it's all kind of cloudy in my mind. How are we saving the universe in feudal Japan? But that's where we are for my game.
Feudal Japan, saving the universe in feudal Japan. I like where we're going here. I'm very excited to see how you pull this off at the end.
Yeah, we'll see. Did I just shoot myself in the foot with choice number 2?
Did you miss, like, I don't know, No Man's Sky would have been a perfect choice for what you were trying to put down, but like, whatever.
I did not think about No Man's Sky. That's a great point. That's a great point. Maybe we'll institute a rule where we can do one change at the end if there's one thing that really fucks with our open world game. But for now, I am saying Ghost of Tsushima.
Okay.
So from here,
right.
I'm gonna say let's go to Traversal. How are we getting around this world?
Okay. I like this. Patrick, how would you get around your open world? Feudal Japan.
So with that, Cayman, great question. Fuck.
You fucked up.
I really kind of did fuck up. I kind of did fuck up. All right, here's a question. And I have a backup if the answer is no.
Okay.
But I think the answer can be yes. Wind Waker?
Yeah.
Open Seas of Wind Waker, that's an open world, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I think that's going to be the mystery of this universe, Cayman, is somehow off the coast of Japan. And a lot of so there's going to be some areas where we're kind of, on the coast, but a lot of the traversal in this game is going to be on the open seas, a la The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. Let's fucking go.
You are building a Frankenstein, and I cannot wait to see the final product, buddy.
It's something special to behold. But I just, like in Wind Waker, you bring it, and in my game, you don't necessarily have to bring out the Wind Waker to choose the way that the wind goes. But you got the music. You're fucking creating your own wake. Think about that. I never thought about that. Wind Waker. You're creating a wake as you go through the ocean. Fucking levels, bro. But just that, like, really, and like, oh, maybe I'm gonna stop here in the middle of the ocean, drop anchor, drop trowel, and go pick up some treasure from underneath the ocean where I am. Oh, and by the way, my ship talks to me Because he's a god? Let's fucking go. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
This game sounds awful.
Let's go, dude. What about you? What's your traversal, Mr. Your ideas are so much better than mine.
You're gonna love this one. You're gonna love this one.
Can't use your wild card.
You're right. I'm going with Tony Hawk Pro Skater American Wasteland.
Yeah, that's clearly an open
world.
Clearly an open world.
We are skating around our Oregon town. It's just normal dudes on our skateboards. Tell me this is just aesthetically pleasing.
I mean, it's pretty good. I'm interested to see what your aesthetic / graphical style is, which maybe we go to now. I'm not going to pressure you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to pressure you, Cayman. But this is a game. You know what I was expecting you to choose, which I might be spoiling a choice of yours in the future, because I'll go ahead and say I'm not choosing this game for any of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Mortal Kombat Deception. That, like, when you can just run like the wind in that game, it pulls back and you're just like running 1,000 miles an hour across the less I think Deception.
The less I think about Mortal Kombat Deception, the easier I sleep at night. I was not prepared the first time I played that game that by the end of that game I would be playing as a 150-year-old man.
I mean, you ran into the future of Mortal Kombat.
Fucking ran into the future. Yes.
Yeah, one of the things so in my notes, I kind of wrote down a few for each. Days Gone with the motorcycle was one of my traversal options, but you took it from me.
Oh my God, I didn't realize it. Yeah, I did. Definitely 100% took that from me.
Just think about being in feudal Japan with a motorcycle. That's the reason why the universe is fucked.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, where are we going next?
Where are we going next? Let's go to aesthetic.
Nope, we're going to go. Okay, we're going there.
We're going to go aesthetic. We're going to knock this one out. All right.
Let's fucking go.
My aesthetic. I'm going with a comic book style aesthetic.
Okay.
And I'm torn right now, Patrick. I'm actually got two options here. I'm going to let you choose because honestly, I don't think you're going to choose either of these. So should we go Ultimate Spider-Man with like traditional comic book aesthetic?
Sure.
Or what do you think about more of like a cartoonishy aesthetic from Sunset Overdrive?
Ooh, okay. So more like, yeah. So the like you said, Ultimate Spider-Man is very much like we're in a comic book.
We're in a comic.
He's got those really hard black lines, like almost like has that kind of visual style too. Mm-hmm. I think. Well, let me ask you this, because I don't want to jump ahead per se, but in terms of like gameplay and like, do you feel like because I think part of the charm of like going the Ultimate Spider-Man style is having like that kind of not stop motion per se, because that doesn't read well in a video game. It just looks like the frame rate is shit. But do you feel like stylistically it would make more sense to go harder toward the comic book style or harder toward the, not that Sunset Overdrive is realism by any means, but when you compare it to Ultimate Spider-Man,
you know what? Honestly, I think I'm going to go with Sunset Overdrive on this, because I think it would be really cool. Just imagine this town, right, in Oregon that has like smokestacks because it was an old industrial town, right?
Sure.
And you got like very stylistically built and kind of haphazard, like kind of semi-crumbling looking, like industrial town in Oregon with like, and it's all, kind of like wavered and whatnot, and just like very unique to itself.
Yeah.
But I think it fills the vibe. I think my one issue going full comic book style is I don't know if the setting itself translates as well.
Sure.
When it's full comic book, but I think meeting in the middle in that like a little surreal,
mm-hmm.
a little over the top.
I like that. Is part of bringing the aesthetic also bringing like the like within the world, like it's very like kind of over the top, and it's like advertising and things like that is like kind of like that as well.
Yeah, we'll kind of go. We're gonna talk like I think it's just more over the top than just like having a bunch of ads everywhere and like soda cans that turn things into mutants isn't happening.
Sure.
It's still grounded, but it's abstract.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Outlandish.
For me, for my aesthetic, I'm willing to make. I'm going to try to fight for this one, which I feel like I'm saying every time. Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch.
Ooh.
Because at first I was like, it didn't pop up in any of my searches.
Okay.
When I was searching, but then I think about the game and like especially kind of later in the game, you got like the airship. You're going like old school Final Fantasy where you're kind of going across the whole world. Like it kind of feels like eventually it turns into an open world game. Would you agree or would you disagree?
It is no. Oh, Ni no Kuni and Ni no Kuni 2 are both open world games.
Let's fucking go. Ni no Kuni is my aesthetic because if I could make more video games look like a Ghibli game, like I'm so fucking into that.
Studio Ghibli.
Get me level 5
in feudal Japan. And you're spending most of your time out in the water. Oh, bro. Okay, I think we're coming back. I think we're coming back. I think we're coming back.
We're coming back, baby. I'm so excited that got through. I'm gonna stop second guessing myself and just trust.
You should trust your instinct. I'll shut you down otherwise.
Hell yeah. Okay, so we have so far our story, our world / location, traversal style, and then the aesthetic / graphics. Yeah, and like Jordan said, the Ghibli staff literally worked on Wrath of the White Witch. So big fan, big fucking fan. Okay, so from here came in, I think, let's get weird with it.
Okay.
Let's go to mini games.
Okay.
What kind of mini games are we going to have in our open world? And I'll start it off.
Love it.
I don't know this game super well, Cayman. I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
But I seem to remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, I seem to remember at one point you telling me that in Shenmue 2, there was forklift driving minigames.
I think it's in Shenmue 1 as well.
It's in Shenmue 1 as well. Okay, so I'm between a couple different options here, and I'm going to talk it out.
Okay.
I'm between Shenmue. I'm between Sleeping Dogs because they had cockfighting and Sleeping Dogs.
That's okay.
Or maybe using a wildcard pick.
Ooh, okay.
Because I didn't really go very much further past that. But then I could also, like, there's more recent games, like there's, Queen's Blood and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Actually, let's put a pause on this real fast. Let me ask you.
Yeah.
Even though I put together a lot of these rules, completely original, never heard of these rules before. Do you feel like when I say mini games, we're bringing every mini game from this game, or are we picking like a mini game to be the kind of standout mini game of this open world game? What do you think makes more sense to you?
I would say you're getting the full gamut of mini games from that game.
Okay.
Or the vibe of those mini games is what you're getting.
Okay.
I don't know if you can necessarily be like, I want one singular mini game, and then like that's all I'm going to bring over to my game.
Sure.
Because then it's just mini game.
Right. No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Because like when I think about potentially pulling the trigger on a wild card pick, I think about so many mini games from Barbie Supermodel. There's the driving mini game. There's the fucking magazine cover mini game. Like there's so many mini games within Barbie Supermodel. And I'm wondering, does that make sense in a feudal Japan where you're saving the universe from exploding? Set mostly, or like the traversal system is that of Wind Waker on the ocean. Your boat is a god that speaks to you. And the aesthetic is in a Ni no Kuni Ghibli style. Does it make sense to inject some Barbie Supermodel?
Run through some mini games for me real fast so that I know exactly what type of
Yeah. No, I'm so glad you asked. The one that I keep coming back to is that one that when we did this episode so many moons ago, where you're driving your little Barbie Supermodel car and you run over a magazine cover. And then you're having to choose what is the outfit Barbie's going to have on this magazine cover. That's the one that keeps jumping to my mind. But I think as I talk it through, as I talk it out, it does feel dissonant.
Does it now?
With the game I'm creating and what I want to do.
Is there anything that you've put in this game that isn't dissonant?
I mean, really, most of it really sings other than the fact that I'm saving the universe, I think.
Right. I think that's the one that's kind of catchy. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So in that case, Cayman, I think think,
yeah.
I'm gonna actually bring in a game that I've not brought up in my conversation right now because I'm just scrolling my list and I'm reminded of another video game,
Right.
which is The Witcher 3.
Okay.
Specifically Gwent.
Okay. Yeah, no.
So I mean, there's other mini games within The
right.
Witcher 3, but the standout is the card game Gwent, which is just a boatload of fun.
Yeah.
And you might sit there and ask, Patrick, if you're in a time crunch trying to save the universe in this setting, why would you stop to play a card game? To which I ask, why would you ever stop to play a card game in any video game? That's just we're playing a fucking video game, brother.
Right.
So
that's
yeah,
like my favorite part of JRPGs specifically is when they give you that point where it's like, this is the point of no return. And you're like, well, I'm about to kill God. It's perfect time now for me to go back to that one area and then do like the 15 missing fetch quests I haven't done.
That's exactly
this is like really important that this farmer gets a loaf of wheat, right? He fucking needs it. I gotta do this. I'm looking God square in the eye, being like, oh, please.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta go kill 15 goblins in a dungeon real fast.
Video games be video gaming.
Video games be video game. Patrick, I feel like I'm crushing it right now.
Let's hear it.
My mini games, I'm going to take them from Rockstar's Bully.
Oh, I didn't even think about Bully.
Okay.
That's good.
We got carnival rides. We've got go-kart racing. We got dancing around as a mascot. We can't really do a mascot, but what we can do is like an odd job where I'm dancing in front of like a fucking, smoothie shop or something.
That's good.
All of the mini games are like fit in this world of like playing, like just a bunch of normal fucking dudes doing normal fucking shit, like going to a goddamn carnival, doing go-kart racing.
And, you're in regular town, Oregon. Very easily, this could be also set within a universe. A university.
Right. Oh, shit. Yeah, you very well could. Yeah, you could. And
I bet there's at some point in Days Gone, there's a fucking university of some kind, I'm sure. I don't remember it, but I bet there is.
Oh, I mean, there has to.
That's good. That's really good.
Bully set? Like in like
it's like
New England?
I feel like it's like a New England.
You're on the coast, right? If I'm
remember
correctly.
And it feels north, like northeastern,
right,
for sure.
Right, yeah.
How about that?
Like perfect fucking pick?
How about that perfect fucking pick, bro? You fucking nailed it, bro. Where are we going from here?
We are gonna go, Patrick. I think it's time we talk about our characters in our game.
I love that. Let's do that.
Yeah. So I'll start us off. I'm gonna go with Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Nice.
It doesn't have to be, Kasuga, but like I just love just a bunch of normal fucking people.
Yeah.
And I think in this game that I'm building, this RPG that I'm building, is just like we're just a bunch of normal dudes who have normal jobs. It's just a group of friends out in this town in Oregon playing fucking carnival games, and then they just need to save the town somehow.
I love that.
Something's going on. They need to save the town. Who knows what that means? We're going to save the town, though.
Yeah. I like that a lot. I think my only question to you, and I think the answer is a resounding yes.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that the protagonist is best boy?
Oh, protagonist has to be best boy.
I think for this game,
an absolute schlub of a human being that you can't help but adore.
Yeah, I think this game absolutely has to be best boy.
Right. This dude walking around is wearing a goddamn flannel and a newsboy cap and fails constantly at everything he does. Yeah, nailed it. Fucking nailed it. Perfect.
I love that.
What about you?
I'm a bit torn here because I think there's a lot of the kind of the best in class open world games. A lot of like what makes them sing is their characters, because a lot of the time like that then comes with very good side quests and very like good writing and that kind of thing. And so for me, like I'm really drawn to use one of my wildcard picks here, but then I keep thinking about that it factor. And I feel like for me, I think I need to save my wildcard pick for the it factor portion. Okay. I think for what I'm kind of trying to build here. But then I think about the game that I've built so far. Feudal Japan. All the, Ghibli style of Ni no Kuni. We're doing a lot of ocean traversal with our god that is a boat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, would it make sense here to pull the trigger double fucking down on my characters and NPCs as being gods and just bring in the cast of Hades? Could be kind of cool.
That would actually be very... Okay, yeah, your game is a Cobb salad.
I mean, is a Cobb salad not one of the best salads?
It's a lot of weird ingredients, but it's delicious.
Right. Like that sounds like it, because here's my thought here. Like, if I don't go that, I'm choosing either Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. That, because it's like that very like, but then I already have a Zelda game, so that kind of feels like a cop out. Not a cop out, but like I already have one Zelda. Like, am I just making a fucking Zelda game? You know what I mean?
No one says you can't.
Yeah, because I've already picked Witcher 3, which that was also one of the things I considered. And I thought about some of the Fallouts, but I feel like the characters of the Fallout games are also dissonant to the world that I'm creating, the game that I'm creating. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna say wildcard pick the characters and NPCs of Hades. All the characters in this game,
so they're gods
for whatever reason, are gods.
They don't have to necessarily be the entire cast of Hades. It could be like just gods.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to be like the Greek gods. Like, maybe it makes more sense to be like Tao and Shinto gods. Like,
sure. Ooh, okay. Okay.
That could be cool.
I like this. I like this a lot, actually.
Okay.
And I think now that we've got gods, saving the universe doesn't feel as dissonant.
Right? So yeah, okay, yeah. So yeah, this feels good. Hades 2.
You're popping off, bud.
Gods doesn't have to be Greek. Boom. Okay, so what we have left is combat system, side quests, collectibles, music, and the it factor. Let's go it factor. Okay. I think it's time to jump into the it factor.
Okay.
And I think for me, some of the it factors I thought of, like most of them, like I said, would need to be the wild card, which I can't do anymore. So I think by process of elimination, as I look through all of the different it factors that I have, only one of them is from an open world game, and that's Metal Gear Solid 5. So my it factor, and this will, contextually will have to change a little bit, but that it factor of like the base building with the Fulton system. Right. So like when I'm out in the world, enemies that I find, characters that I see, I can, with whatever god power I have, scoop them up, send them back to my base, and they're going to work to help me save the universe.
Okay. That's cool.
Because one of my favorite things of so many times I consider going and replaying Metal Gear Solid 5 for a mixture of this system, like that. It's one of the few times where like base building really worked for me because it actually serves a purpose for the game. Right. Like by Fultoning these people, in the context of the game, when you Fulton somebody, you like attach this balloon to them. They fly up into the sky. A helicopter grabs them, take them back to your base, and then you like assign where in your base that you want them to work. And as you get through the game, you get to like higher level missions and things like that. People have higher skills. Then maybe they're like better at combat. They're better at like whatever. And so, this is an S rank person in the kitchen, so I'm going to throw him in, and he's going to like make sure that all of our people have like a high level of health because the food that they're getting to eat is like top notch, like Michelin star kind of shit. So that's kind of the idea of the Fulton system, if you're unaware. But like that, and like the combat system of Metal Gear Solid 5, there's just so many things about Metal Gear Solid 5 that are so good that are just stuck in like an unfinished video game because Kojima like left before the game was really finished. And so that's part of the reason why I've not gone back. But yeah, I'm gonna lock in my it factor is the like kind of the base building and Fulton system of MGS5. How about you?
I love it. My it factor, Patrick, it's gonna be Diablo 3.
Okay.
And I'm going to be pulling from Diablo 3, the loot system.
Okay.
I love this idea of my people in my town just getting like random weapons and loot, like as they're exploring and doing stuff. So like, and I think, and why it's important that it's specifically Diablo, because there's so many games that do loot systems like this, right?
Sure.
What Diablo does really cool specifically is certain pieces of armor, certain pieces, like certain weapons will have auxiliary abilities that will do weird shit in combat that give you like additional things. So for instance, there is a piece of armor or a weapon you can get in Diablo 3 where every, like, you have a percentage chance of like 15% to every hit that you summon a ghost cow to just like stampede past you. So I just love this idea of like, you get weird abilities. So like my character can like pick up a plunger, and like that plunger, because he's got a plunger, like adds poison damage, or adds, or like he picks up a pair of like combat boots and he unlocks a secondary ability that lets him drop kick people, or like random shit.
Sure.
A luchador mask turns this character into like Nacho Libre.
Ooh, I love that.
Or like,
so a loot system that is specific to powers.
Right. So the loot system but it's also going to augment the way you look, because you want your characters to look cool, right?
Right.
Like, you don't want your characters to look like, I mean, yes, your characters can look just ridiculously dumb if you want.
Sure.
People do that. I like this idea that I can get like, I can get a fucking flannel.
Oh yeah.
And my flannel, I like, just when I get like, I have a special power because of this flannel, where like that. I can just like, on what percentage hit chance, I might just like, quote some Midwest emo lyrics at someone and deal damage.
I like where you're going though, where like part of like the gameplay loop that gets someone to keep coming back is like, I want to get more loot to make my character cooler and also do
right. Exactly.
That's good. I like that. Okay, great. So yeah, I did MGS 5. You're doing Diablo 3. Mm-hmm. Where are we going from here, Cayman? I took us to It Factor.
I think it's about time we talk about combat.
Patrick. Let's go.
I think it's time we talk about combat.
I think so too.
All right. So you're probably going to, there's a little bit of cheating. No, it's not. I'm going with Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. The reason why it's different than Yakuza Like a Dragon is that the actual your combat system is actually different.
You're right.
So you're going to have it's going to be a turn-based combat system. And what I like is the people you're fighting are just normal people on the street in your town. But when you see them, they turn into monsters and weird shit and stuff that like, because in your head, like there is some, some other type of, some big bad, no, it's just some asshole on the street. But what I'd like that. So characters are going to be changing into monsters or whatnot when you encounter them. But also I love just like the way that you have like it's the zone based, where you can like strategically place your characters in certain areas to do like certain types of attacks.
Yeah.
So it's more strategy involved in it, but has to be turn-based.
I
love a good turn-based open world RPG.
For sure. I'm going to go a similar route and have my my combat system come from Dragon Age Inquisition.
Ooh.
And what I mean by similar is that game, like a lot of BioWare games, but this was kind of the first one where they really started to kind of straddle the line. That game can be like totally turn-based. Sure. And, it's not turn-based like a Final Fantasy game or even Like a Dragon, where I guess actually it's kind of more like a Dragon than like a Final Fantasy game, where you can stop the stop time and like people are kind of be all over the map like they are in Like a Dragon, and you can choose like who's going to attack when. But also if you want, like it can be completely like real-time action as well. It still kind of functions a lot more like a turn-based game. It's happening in real time, kind of very fast. So that's kind of my thought process there, is that it kind of gives the player the option of it being kind of more action focused or being more turn-based focused. I think another kind of thought or idea would be like Final Fantasy VII Remake, except mine would be a little bit more on the turn-based forward than, because that one it's more like 80-20 real time to turn-based, where mine, I would want it to be more like closer to 50-50, I think.
I love it. All right, Patrick, what's next?
I think, let's see. I guess we're between side quests and collectibles and music are the last three.
It does appear, yeah.
So it does appear to be so. I think I'm going to go and take us to side quests.
Okay.
And I think what I'm going to say might be shocking at first, not in that it's not an open world. It is definitively an open world. It's just such a different vibe than every game that I've brought up so far, but I'll explain what I mean by it. And that is Batman Arkham City. And what I mean by the side quests of Batman Arkham City is how, like, think about in that game where, you know, within Arkham City, the city is kind of like zoned off in ways of like, this is the part where Mr. Freeze is, this is the part where the Penguin is, this is the part where Poison Ivy is. And like kind of all of the side quests in those areas pertain to that antagonist. So I feel like part of my kind of vision with this game where we're saving the universe, it's all gods. And I would assume somehow the narrative, the reason that the universe is going that the universe is dying is in some part due to gods, I would assume. Mm-hmm. So there's got to be antagonist gods.
Sure. Yeah.
And so throughout this kind of world in my mind, there's these kind of different areas where these gods are. And then there's going to be side quests kind of that pertain to taking down that god in that area.
Ooh, okay.
So a bit of a long-winded kind of, I took the long way around, but that's why I'm choosing Batman Arkham City for my side quests, is that kind of those side quests being kind of almost like specific to the areas that they are in. And I mean, the side quests, like from a story perspective, are also all really compelling. Right. So
I dig it. I dig it. Yeah. Patrick, I'm going to go, ooh, man. I think I'm going to go Skyrim.
At some point, we had to bring Bethesda.
I think I'm going to go Skyrim. And specifically, there's one big story, but then you have multiple. I just like the structure of Skyrim having like one big story, but then you have multiple larger side quests that are like part of their own unique story. So like, you know, one side quest could be, you know, obviously you have the multiple story thing, but like one side quest could be that like, you have to try to figure out who you're going to join with. Are you going to hang out with the punks? Are you going to hang out with the jocks in town? You know, the yuppies in town, or who are you going to side with? You know, one of them could be like, oh, we got to take down the corrupt mayor. And, you know, it's like one could be like, you need to like kick off and launch this pizza joint that's like failing. Like, who fucking knows?
Right.
But you're going to get like longer, and then you're going to have your optional smaller fetch quests and little things that like will, you know, patch you around, but you're going to have your larger, small, like fewer, but larger, you know, narrative side quests.
I like that
pushed around. You know?
I like that a lot. This kind of like idea of sometime, like for some people, their favorite part of Skyrim is a certain section of side quests. Like, like the Thieves Guild or the Dark Brotherhood. Like there's
Dark Brotherhood. Best part of Skyrim.
Yeah, because like and sometimes the side quests take like 15 hours.
Right.
And most Bethesda games, not specifically only Skyrim, but I do think that Skyrim does it best. Where like I think a lot of people would say, like you said, a lot of people would say that they're the best parts of that story are not the main story. So I like that. I like that a lot. I took us to side quest, right?
You took us to side quest. I'm going to take us, let's see. I'm going to take us to collectibles.
Okay. We're here.
Collectibles.
We're ready.
I'm here. All right. Collectibles. I'm going with a game called Mafia 2, Patrick.
Let's go.
And let me tell you why. If anyone's ever played Mafia 2, there's like one collectible in this game.
Yep.
And it's vintage Playboy magazines.
Yes, it is.
And you can't tell me that it wouldn't be amazing that like the main character, or at least a character in your main lineup of party of like just average people, just dumb, weird people.
I mean, come on.
One of them is like just a vintage porno collector. It's just like a running gag, and like the whole game, you're just picking up vintage pornos for this character. Like that's like one collectible.
It makes perfect sense.
It makes perfect sense. It's better than like diary entries or
right.
You know, it'd be cooler if there was a game
audio logs.
Right. It'd be cooler if there was a game that you could pick up like trash cinema films.
Well, I just realized we have
Right.
a little double save trash cinema here if you're watching the video
Looking
version.
handsome.
Look at that.
But I think I can settle with vintage porn.
I like that a lot. I mean, I like vintage porn. Who doesn't?
Who doesn't?
But I think for the aesthetic, the whole vibe that you're building makes total sense. I think for me, I'm going to have to go a similar route, not vintage Playboys, but in that I need to go the route that serves my game.
Right.
If I didn't go the route I went, where it's very like kind of like naturey and like godly, I've been trying to find a way to bring in a Fallout game, but it just doesn't make sense. Like none of them match with what I'm doing, because I do really love like the bobblehead collectibles in a Fallout game. But for that reason, I'm going to go Assassin's Creed 2, specifically 2, where one of my favorite collectibles ever in a game is finding, like, I forget what they're called, which might sound contradictory to me saying it's one of my favorites, but you don't have to find quote unquote the truth as you play Assassin's Creed 2, which is collectibles that show you this kind of revelation to the story of the game. Like you can go the whole game and never get a single piece of truth, which is like a part of the Apple of Eden or whatever. I forget all of the kind of the context around it, but this idea, the idea that I'm pulling from Assassin's Creed 2 is that there will be a collectible in my game that is optional, but as you get it, you are given little nuggets of the overall narrative, like a big piece of why like the universe is failing or whatever the fuck. And if you find all of the collectibles, you'll get, like, in the context of Assassin's Creed 2, it's like 2 seconds of a cinematic each time you find one. You get all of them, you piece it together, and you have like a 60-second cinematic, like showing like a piece of lore of the story. So that's where I'm going with this. Is like, I want, when you get them all, it unlocks like a piece of context about this world and about this story that if you didn't go look for them, you didn't get. But if you did go for them, then it gave you that like extra bit of zhuzh that kind of
that extra bit of zhuzh.
Yeah, I'm you know me, Cayman.
I know you love that zhuzh, and you love that gabagool.
I love the zhuzh, I love the gabagool, and I love the truth.
You love the truth.
So that's why I'm choosing the collectible system from Assassin's Creed 2 for my game. Patrick. Which brings us to our final category. Music. And I think because I'm picking it, I get to go first.
You do.
And I'm, I almost didn't go with another game in this franchise earlier, but I think it would be a travesty, Cayman, if in building our perfect open world game, one of us didn't pick what ended up being the number 1 out of 100 video games on the Spotlight Games top 100 list, which is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So I'm going to go with the music of Tears of the Kingdom, because
I still fight that
it was number 1. Oh yeah, no, it's silly that it was number 1. It's crazy recency bias that there were like 4 games from 2023 in that list. But I think the music of that game is a triumph. And I think for the aesthetic, for the whole vibe that I've built, I think it makes perfect sense. This was another category because we both used our wild cards, so you couldn't do that here anyway. This was a kind of backup wild card for me of either going Persona 5 or Deathloop, either bringing like a jazz or a funk to it. But I think because of like the nature of my game, it makes sense for it to be a more like classical orchestral, orchestral, very, very epic in its orchestra, that kind of thing.
Right.
So I'm going Tears of the Kingdom for my music.
So this is where I like ran into one where I was struggling, Patrick, because I don't feel like there's many open world games that like meet all of my criteria.
Yeah.
For like, what is going to be the soundtrack? I almost went with a wild card.
Ooh.
Almost went with a wild card, but I was like, you know what? I can't, because I couldn't figure out how to find a game that was open world that met my low stakes story.
Sure.
And then it dawned on me, Patrick. Burnout Paradise.
Ooh, great pick.
It is a mixture of mainly just punk and rock music.
Yeah. I was going to say like a GTA game because they have all those different radio stations, but I think Burnout Paradise is actually like the perfect choice.
It's just kind of grunge in a weird way. Like you're going to get a mixed bag of like different, like sure, you're going to get Avril Lavigne.
Sure.
Okay. But you're also going to get shit like Paradise City.
Yeah.
And you're gonna get shit like there's fucking, I want to say My Chemical Romance is in this.
Probably. I want to
Fucking
say like the
Mastodon.
bravery is in there.
Yeah, Mastodon's in it. I would have settled for Burnout Takedown if I had the ability, or Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1.
But not open
Would
world.
have been, but not open world
Could have
games.
been wild cards, but
Could have been wild cards. But I honestly think Burnout Paradise is a great soundtrack for a game like this.
Yeah, I think now that we both of our games are chosen, I think you using your wild card on story was a great choice.
Right.
I think because let's recap these and let's kind of talk through them as we kind of send the audience on their merry little way. So for you, Cayman, you have the story of Life is Strange. It's vibes. It's not the exact story of Life is Strange. Your protagonist is a normal fucking person in a normal town. Some catastrophe is going to take place, but we're not killing gods like a JRPG.
Mm-hmm.
Your combat system is like a dragon, infinite wealth. It's turn-based, where you're fighting normal people, but when you fight them, they might turn into fantastic shit.
Right.
Your world /map/location is Oregon from Days Gone, but not in the zombie way. You're in Portland.
Yeah. We're just in Portland. Basically, we're in Portland.
Yeah. Your characters are from Yakuza Like a Dragon, just a bunch of normal fucking people, and the protagonist is obviously Best Boy.
Best Boy.
Your side quests are from Skyrim. Big story, big multiple larger side quests that are in ways as big as the main story. And in context, they're like different groups in town. Maybe it's like a nerdy section of the town. You mentioned maybe taking down the mayor. It's very much within the context of your world, but that idea that sometimes the side quests might be even better than the main story. Your collectibles, Mafia 2. Plain and simple, we're getting Playboy mags.
Get Playboy mags.
Easy. Your mini games from Rockstar's Bully, which is just a fucking slam dunk. You got your fucking slingshot.
Yeah.
You're breaking windows in people's houses. You're sneaking into dorm rooms and doing all sorts of naughty things. What a solid pick.
My cast is literally just the fucking cast from New Girl.
Basically.
Yeah.
Easy. Your music, Burnout Paradise. We got punk, we got grunge. We got emo music.
Right.
It's vibes all day. Your Traversal, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater American Wasteland. You're in normal fucking Oregon on skateboards, going around this city, causing mayhem as you go. Your aesthetic, you're going to comic book aesthetic from a Sunset Overdrive. So it's very cartoony, but still has like a twinge of realism, but it's very much like we're loud, we're colorful, we're here for a good time and to look fucking good doing it. And then your it factor is a loot system from something like Diablo 3, but specifically for like looks and powers. So maybe it's like costume pieces, maybe it's like certain powers that your characters get, they can use in combat or around the world, but it's very much that like loot loop that you get in a game like Diablo 3. Honestly, sounds like a pretty fucking great video.
Sounds like a great game. Yeah, man.
Yeah. So for me, to compare, the kind of overall story is something like Outer Wilds. The universe is dying and you have to figure out a way to stop it within a certain time frame. It's not going to be 22 minutes like Outer Wilds is, but it's that kind of that mystery of solving something much bigger than. Combat system, Dragon Age Inquisition. So it's like a healthy mix of turn-based and action as well. But you have your party, you're choosing where people go, what they're doing. It's very much more than just your own protagonist, but it's still like it's that healthy mix of turn-based and action that Dragon Age Inquisition has. The world and map/location is Ghost of Tsushima. We're in like a very beautiful, art-forward, like feudal Japan. Very nature driven, like no technology really in sight. It's very much like just like a beautiful nature vibe. The characters and NPCs, this is when I used my wild card on Hades. And it doesn't have to be specifically the characters of Hades, even though maybe Zagreus does show up. But I think in the context of this time period and of this part of the world, we have gods, both on both sides, both good and bad.
I think if you keep them like Japan based gods, like
sounds pretty cool. Sounds pretty cool.
That's fucking cool.
We have the collectibles of Assassin's Creed 2, specifically in that game, like finding the truth in Assassin's Creed 2. So a collectible that helps guide the narrative, that helps provide context for the narrative. You're not just picking up coins or flowers or whatever. It's something that like serves a purpose within the world of the game. We have the side quests of Batman Arkham City. And what I mean by that is like in certain sections of the world, there will be kind of side quests that serve a narrative purpose in that section. So like within Arkham City, there was like the side quests of Poison Ivy. There were the side quests of like taking down Mr. Freeze, like that kind of thing. And like within those areas, like it'll kind of serve that purpose. So, within the context of this game, we got gods in different areas. They have their little parts of the world that they're kind of taken over. You got to take them down in these side quests to kind of serve the bigger purpose. We got the mini games from The Witcher 3. Gwent, take a break from saving the universe, play some card games. Cayman. I actually don't remember a single other mini game in The Witcher 3, but I bet there's a bunch of other good ones. There's probably like a drinking mini game.
I think there is.
I'm sure there's a bunch of shit in there.
Horse races, things.
Yeah, right. The music of Tears of the Kingdom, so like a big, epic, grand orchestral score. A lot of like, as you're going through the world, like the music kind of changes with you, and we got fucking themes on themes, Cayman. Traversal, we're going Wind Waker. We're going like open world with a boat. The boat also a god, like it is in Wind Waker, and the boat talks to you. LFG. And then aesthetic, we're going Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch. We're going that fucking level 5 with the help of Studio Ghibli. It has that Miyazaki look to it. It's just looks like you're watching a movie as you're playing the game. And then finally, my it factor, the base building / Fulton system from Metal Gear Solid 5. So as you're going through the world, you're picking up characters, you're recruiting them to go back to your base, kind of build up your base and kind of set yourself up for success as you go through the game to save the universe from collapsing and dying.
Patrick, I'm going to be honest with you. I think your game has Game of the Year potential.
Yeah, you think so?
It screams Game of the Year to me. Large, grandiose scale.
Yeah.
Beautiful score. Beautiful setting.
A lot of like narrative focused stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
I definitely think that you I think that reviewers would probably be a bit more kind to you. But they would my game. Yeah.
First, I would like to say thank you. I do think the game sounds pretty fucking sick. There were some I stumbled a couple times, but I was able to salvage.
You pulled it back. I'm so glad you didn't go with Barbie Supermodel.
That would have been a bad vibe. But I do think that like the game that you have made could also be that, like, because I think it sounds fucking so good. I feel like it has that like It Takes Two surprise game of the year vibe of like,
thanks, man.
People are playing this game, like the trailers are coming out. Maybe it's a skateboarding game, and then it comes out as like, bro, 10 out of 10, you got to play this game. I think we did fucking great.
I think we did.
I want to know from you, the audience, of these two games, what do you think? Is there one that you're drawn to more? Do you want to save the universe with a bunch of different Japanese gods? Or you want to skate around and cause some trouble in Portland, Oregon with your buddies? Yeah.
I know that this episode, mainly because of the power outage, has been a bit weird.
Yes.
But I want to ask one last question for you.
Yeah.
If you had to choose right now.
Yeah.
What is the title of your game?
Whoa. Title. Now that is something I never even considered. The title of my game, I feel like it's got to be something like short and simple, but still like kind of like makes you think and like kind of adds like a little mystery to it. Right. What about like something like Into the Sky?
Okay.
Into the abyss, I want there to be like a sense of traversal in the title, because so much of the game is kind of centered around like,
sure,
the traversal is a big part of it with that Wind Waker system. Is there a word that you think fits better after Into the blank?
You could do like something like if you were to call like whatever your area is, be like into the, I don't know, into fuck, I don't know. I was gonna say something that sounds similar to the word ether, but then it's made to be more fantasy sounding, you know, like
what about
Eterna?
that's good. Maybe there's like or maybe I don't know enough about like that like religion, like you know, I'm thinking of like Taoism, Shinto,
Right.
like if there is a word for the afterlife, like a heaven or like Elysium, like in Greek mythology, maybe there's like a word that's like into whatever that name is, like if there's like a name for the afterlife in that part of the world, or something like maybe it'll make kind of fuck Jordan Zen to the unknown. Fucking hell, that's good.
That's it.
Zen to the unknown. I mean, that's something. That's something. Cayman, I'm gonna stew just at another moment, but do you have one off the top of your head?
Brother, you're not gonna have long to stew.
Okay.
Welcome to Dumpster Town.
Good. Is Portland in your world called Dumpster Town, or is it like a name that characters have for it?
Right. That's what I would say. Is it would be just like when the opening scroll happens and like comes across, you know, there's gonna be like the you know, welcome to Portland sign, right? It doesn't have to be Portland. It can be some made up town, right? That's like just like, you know, Portland like, right? But it's like welcome to Portland, but Portland's been spray painted out and it says Dumpster Town underneath.
I love that.
And then you just like, then all of a sudden you got that, like, that's how the opening cinematic works, is it shoots up to the thing. And then all of a sudden all you and your cronies are just like skateboarding down the street past that sign. Right. And it's like, you like doing like the woo as you're like going down the street and
Sure.
stuff. I'm just like, you know,
I like it. Was it Dumpsterville or Town?
Dumpster Town, but Dumpsterville is totally good too. Dumpsterville.
Because it can be welcome to the dumpster. I think, yeah, the Dumpster Town, Dumpsterville, that feels good to me. I was doing a quick search, but then like I'm reading it like a mile a minute. Like I don't want to like bring in the wrong thing per se. So I mean, fucking no one will know. I'm gonna just say I'm gonna call it for now God's Unknown. Because maybe the gods are to blame for the universe ending. Maybe, I don't know. We'll kind of figure out once you hit credits what that means. But I'm going to go with that for now. Working title, but God's Unknown.
Yeah. God's Unknown.
Welcome to Dumpster Town.
Welcome to Dumpster Town. Those are two very different games, but I do think we knocked it out of the park.
I think so too. There was a moment, God's Unknown, a Pokemon mystery. They're the little like letter looking things. Could be. But yeah, let us know what you think. Is there a game that you would prefer of these, or you know the categories? Send us your open world game. In fact, head on over to the Discord. Let's talk about it in our general channel, folks.
And if you're Shuhei Yoshida, guess what? You can buy either one of our games. We're very cheap.
That's true.
Very cheap.
That's true. Let's go. Send me an offer.
Right.
Send me an offer. Cayman, let's send the folks on their way. Let them know where they can follow you if they don't already.
You can follow AI's favorite dumpster boy at the dumpster boy on Twitter, where I will now be spending the rest of my time pitching every game studio no demand to pick up the rights to Welcome to Dumpster Town.
That's good. You can follow me at Patrick Schwag on Twitter, or Spotlight Games Pod on Twitter if you want to follow the pod. Everywhere else, that's going to be Spotlight Games Pod. That's Instagram, TikTok. That's right here on Twitch. That's YouTube. Thanks for being here. We will be back next week, right here, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. We are going to take a week off in August, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But we will be back tomorrow night for a little Last of Us Part 2. So I hope to see you there. But until next week or tomorrow night, thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, tell your best friend about it if you haven't already. Thanks for being here. Bye-bye.